So at their D23 Expo, Disney introduced a lineup for its Disney Plus streaming service, and dead smack in the center was Miss Marvel here, who, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's gonna flop, guys. It's gonna flop hard. Now, you may be asking yourself, Jay, what do you have a problem with women, huh? Do you have a problem with Muslims? Do you have a problem with Pakistanis? No, not at all. I have a problem with fan fiction masquerading as professional art. So let's get into this, right? And unfortunately, I had to do this video a bit differently because it was really hard to get all the elements together without creating an entire little video in and of itself. So that's where the visuals from this is gonna come from. So let's go on over here. This is Kamala Khan, who is the current iteration of Miss Marvel. Carol Danvers, who most people now know as Captain Marvel, used to carry the mantle. But in the 2010s, about 5 years ago, instead of creating new characters, what they did was they just swapped around a whole bunch of different characters in the name of social justice. So many of you may be thinking to yourselves, Jay, Marvel was always about social justice. I mean, even way back in the 60s. Stop. All right, because initially Miss Marvel was created in that era too, and in the 70s, early 70s, late 60s, and it was called civil rights because it was a completely different time back then. And so Marvel wasn't about social justice, they were about civil rights. And as things have progressed, so did the company. Now, let's get a little bit of background on the young lady here. A Pakistani American growing up in Jersey City, Kamala Khan idolized superheroes like Captain Marvel, never dreaming she'd have the opportunity to join her role models in safeguarding society from the forces of evil. With an inhuman ability to alter shape and size, the newest Miss Marvel employs an idealistic attitude as much as any power to make the world a better place. How does that not come across as... This is from the official Marvel page, okay? This is Marvel's description of her. And I don't see how you can consider that anything other than basically fan fiction at that point. So this is what Miss Marvel used to look like. All right, this was the 70s Miss Marvel. You see leggy, nice big chest and everything else like that. And this is the one a lot of us remember from the 90s cartoon, where Miss Marvel would come on in still looking fantastic. I mean, beautiful blonde. But when I sit here and say that the current iteration of Miss Marvel is a self-insert fan fiction character, you may be asking yourself, well, self-insert, who was the self? Let me introduce you to Sana Amanat. Now, she is an editor and creative director over at Marvel, and let's be real, she's a 35%er. This chick is hot. And it's even with that lens I'm coming through with the criticisms of this character, because that's all it is. It's another brownwashing of a pre-established character. And one of the things that I'll probably be accused of is being jealous of the young lady, because yeah, she has a job that I would love to have. I would love to be a creative director over at Marvel and coming up with new ideas, new heroes, new concepts. That is something that I would consider a dream job, or at least I would have, until I found my current path in actual politics and working on actual legislation, as opposed to just crying about, oh my goodness, oh, I want my representation and everything else like that. Like, deal is that no one stops women from, like I've covered in an earlier video on the channel, no one stops women from doing anything. You want to sit here and talk, oh, well, it's such a boys club, when you have people such as this who have the like reins of power, you know? And this is her, you know what I'm saying, pushing out her Miss Marvel. This is her fan fiction. The character in the mediums that I've seen the character in, because I don't read the books, so because I know in particular it's not for me. and she'll tell you faster than anybody else. It wasn't made for you. But the question is who is it being made for, though? And I think that's a rather fair and valid question. And once again, I just got like a bunch of pictures of her because she is a cutie, man. I'm not gonna knock that. Oh yeah, she's like, hey Jay, could you give me some penis? I'll be like, hell yeah, come on. But the deal is that it is nothing but self-insert fan fiction. The books, the comics that your boy Zach over at Diversity in Comics, I know he changed the name of the name of that channel, but I haven't really gotten into it. I really can't recall it at the moment. Yeah, it was one of his major complaints. If you go check out The Fourth Age, there's a fantastic YouTuber named RJ who goes over these types of goes over the comics and their issues as well. And yeah, she has just poisoned the well. And I know a lot of people will say, well, you know, the whole social justice thing really started with Miles Morales, and you're right to an extent, but he was still more of an original character than Kamala Khan, you know, and and ultimately where I see her character at is just this, like, it's a kid. It's a kid tossed into this world. It's almost as if, you know, someone let their daughter make a comic book, and the daughter recognizes that, oh, I'm not not all that strong or anything else like that, but I can be, you know, I can be really quirky and perky and all that other fun stuff. But nah, darling, nah, like you're not helping. And as well as her powers are simply, she can make her, I guess, hands and feet and body like larger, not to be confused with Mr. Fantastic, who can stretch all over the place. And the reason I looked at this, I wanted to bring this picture up, is because she reminds me of Centoya Brown in this picture. Don't ask me why, but yeah. Marvel for the past, I want to say 20 years or so, have been openly ignoring their core fan base. It's like I said in a previous video, don't play those away games. Like, if you, it's like I said this in the Gillette video, to be specific, you can't step away from your core fan base and expect things to, you know, get right. You gotta, those should be the people, your existing customers are the ones that you should care about the most, as opposed to, oh, we're gonna turn our back. Because they did this, I'm not sure when, but they specifically said, no, we're not gonna be catering to young boys anymore. We wanna cater to young girls. The problem is that young girls don't buy comic books. It's not particularly their wheelhouse. And would you like to know how we know that? Can I darken it up a little bit? Let's see. There we go. Okay. So these are the comic book figures. And this is why I'm saying the show is going to flop. Because the people that the show is made for, they don't care about this character at all. Now, you have, right at the top, at 141, is the first time Ms. Marvel appears in the rankings of comic sales for August of 2019. And that's her and Squirrel Girl in a Marvel Rising issue. Now, you got all these other ones to get down to her own standalone issue. So who do we have? Who is ranking above Miss Marvel in comic book sales? Well, you got Rick and Morty, Farmhand, which, I mean, who doesn't know Rick and Morty? Farmhand, Multiple Man, I'm familiar with Multiple Man. New Challengers, don't know them. Exiles, don't know them. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I'd like to think that'd be bigger, but honestly, when it comes to the MCU, Ant-Man got played so hard. All of the advertising that they put into Captain Marvel honestly should have went into Ant-Man, because that played far more of an important role in Endgame. But, you know, Endgame has its own writing problems, let's be real. Go Power Rangers, Isola, Damage, Wildstorm, Exiles again, really? Twice? Okay. Sideways, Seeds, Death or Glory, Sonic the Hedgehog, and then at 157, which is actually up from 159 last month, is Miss Marvel. Come on. Alright? Like, come on, guys. Like, you're not buying, like, the people that you're making this content for they're not buying it. And I know Disney will not put the numbers out on their streaming service. I mean, they're going to pull a Netflix and just be like, oh yeah, this is our highest rated show. This is a hit new show. And watch it get like a season and a half tops. I'm actually more looking forward to the Moon Knight show than I am, anything else. And I'm not getting Disney Plus. All right. I'm going to probably, hop on the high seas to see the Moon Knight show and the other offerings that they have, because I'm not about to sit here and spend all that money on a Disney Plus service. That's just not my swag at all. Like I said, it's not made for me, so they shouldn't mind if I slip through a little bit. But yeah, this she's a lovely lady, you know what I'm saying, like without question. And I don't want to sit here and say that there's any malicious intent, but the problem with the road to hell is that it's paved with good intentions. And the deal is that as far as who they aim for, like they said that they want to be a lifestyle brand. That I'm talking about Marvel. Marvel wants to be a lifestyle brand. They don't want to just, stay in the realm of, hey, young boys like action and adventure comics, so let's just make that because that's our core. If we can pick up some girls along the way, great, but those are our real money makers. Nah, not even. I mean, and shoot, Spider-Man is just Spider-Man, so he gonna be alright. But with this huge push to turn the Disney Plus into the Marvel show, into the Marvel channel, there's definitely going to be some losses taken, and this is going to be one of them. You may not believe me, but I'm leaving this video up here. Now, I could be wrong. Let me caveat all of this by saying I very well could be wrong. They've been actually really good when it comes to reworking the characters for their own outings. So the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel that we get in the show may be someone completely different, but from her inception to this very moment, it is an insert this very lovely self. Like, yo, I would tear her apart, but it's still fan fiction quality writing, and that just ain't gonna cut it. And one of the things that really blew my mind when it came to Endgame is how rushed it felt the writing was. Like they were just doing their best to get through it, as opposed to actually crafting out that story. I mean, before I get to the ending, I want to talk about the MCU, because they had a different plan. Up until the moment Spider-Man went into the MCU, they had a different game plan, and you can still see remnants of it. Like when the portals open up at the end of Endgame, and you see who's technically second person to come through after Falcon. It was Black Panther. Like, it was supposed to be a Black Panther show come phase 4 and phase 5, but they started switching things around. It got super huge, and Disney will always sit there and try to ride the dollar. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Feige is just doing some, I'd rather just be done with all of it, because what he's built has become a wily beast, and it's pretty impossible to not see the MCU, the cinematic universe. I'm not talking about the TV stuff, because the TV stuff, I consider that something different, but the cinematic universe on the big screen, I can see that just becoming just too much, and them rushing through this so they can say, fine, we done it, we got the #1 movie of all time, and let's call it a day, because there's nowhere to go but down, And with that being said, I want to talk about the main issue that I have with this character. The one thing that really put this character on my radar, because I didn't know most of the people on that list. I don't really pay attention to comics like that. But there was one thing I saw that was like, you know what? We are not cool. We are not friends. It's this. Yeah, they made this whack as shit fan fiction character the Avenger of New Jersey. And all I can do is sink my head and wonder why. It's because not only did you give us a lame character, Captain America was still on the table, right? Because when it comes to Spider-Man, New York Spider-Man, done. All right, Cap, he what's named his a lot of his backstory took place here in New Jersey, so that would have been perfect. But you know, when you got an editor pushing her very own fan fiction character, what do you expect to happen? Man, and like I said, that kind of irritates me too. Not just that I'm jealous of the whole job, because I'd love to have that job, but also because, like, yo, this is what you're sending out to represent New Jersey? I mean, this is like Cory Booker running for president. This is like Chris Christie running for president. Like, this is what really represents the Garden State, the Hardin Garden State? Nah, family, not on my watch. So really, this show is going to flop big time. She does not have the fan base, and honestly, I'm not really sure how many people are going to be quick to hop onto this Disney streaming service with such little content. I mean, shoot, you can probably get most of the Avenger movies on bootleg if it means that much to you. So with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you liked it, toss it a like. Dislike, yeah, go ahead. Do that too. I ain't scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice. You want to get videos like this every single day. Share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube and BitChute, you know, they're not my partners. You're my partner. So, you know, toss this out. Like, hey, this guy, this weirdo over here, he has some interesting things to say. And speak. Let me know, what do you think in the comments? You know what? What Avenger represented your home state, and did you like it? I'd love to hear that conversation in the comments, and until the next one.